everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video, and today we're doing some more DC relaunch news, and we are also going to talk kind of a message of sorts to you guys out there, the skeptics of the DC relaunch. Maybe I can put your hearts at ease, or at least put things in better perspective for you. But first and foremost is relaunch news is Action Comics 1 has been shown, and although very little information has been given about it, other than Grant Morrison writing it, we do get a little bit of a sense on where Superman might stand in the DC universe. A lot of people, myself included, were a little concerned that they were going to make Superman younger. However, if you read the text that is given by DC Comics, the description of the actual comic itself, it states, at this point, this moment, well, and I quote, and no, I'm not Michael Cole. This momentous first issue will set in motion the history of DC universes as Superman defends the world that doesn't trust their first superhero. Now, the key thing there is defends a world that does not trust their first superhero. So maybe Superman isn't getting de-aged or being put back to his first appearance because it's saying first superhero, and Batman is staying relatively untouched, and so are Green Lantern, and their histories are staying intact. Actually, a lot of the DC Universe's history is staying intact, and seeing that Superman is still considered the first superhero, his will probably also. It doesn't really give much information on his status with Lois. Hopefully they're still together, but we'll have to just see about that. So, all this information can be seen on DCComics.com. Sorry about that, just adjusting. And I'll post a link at the bottom as always. Action Comics cover number 1 does look good. Kind of a classic Superman costume throwback. But not really. A little bit more of a Smallville thing more than anything. So yes. And on this page you can also get more information about Superman number 1, Supergirl number 1, and Superboy number 1. With Superboy number 1 we get a little bit more about him actually being a combination of Kryptonian and human DNA. So I guess he's not an android. The cover is just misleading? I don't know. Anywho, with that said, I want to have a small message to people out there that are still skeptic of the DC reboot, because, not reboot, relaunch, because there is a lot of people out there that are still very much skeptic. And I guess I can't blame you, because something this big and these changes that are this big can be frightening and can cause doubt and can worry people about their favorite superheroes on exactly their placement in the DC universe. What I can say about this is it's actually kind of concerning to me and a little insulting on how many people are actually saying that they're going to drop DC Comics because of this relaunch. I've been on several message boards, talked to actually several of my friends, and they actually said that they are dropping comics because they do not want to go through this relaunch. They say that they have been diehard fans that have been reading for 10 to 20 years plus, and that they feel as though they're being betrayed by DC with this change. Well, the first thing I want to say is it is a little concern that people would actually say that they're longtime fans and they love DC Comics, yet they're not willing to actually see this relaunch go through. They're not actually going to see what the changes could be. They're not even going to give the number ones a chance. If you're truly a fan of DC, if you're truly a loyal fan to these comic book characters that we all know and love, why wouldn't you give them a chance to see if they actually impress you, to see if you actually like the comics? You never know. Nothing's set in stone until we actually read the comics itself. So it does perplex me on why people say that they're long-term fans and support DC Comics, yet they won't go through and read number ones. They're not going to see this launched through and see if it's actually going to be good. Another thing I want to point out is this, is that if you are a skeptic on whether or not DC is going to be doing things positively, well, think of it this way. The nature of the comic book industry is that it has to change. There has to be updates, there has to be facelifts. This is a facelift for DC. It is a changing, it is a modernization of the comics that need a modernization. It is a change that needs to be done eventually at some point. And Dan Didio, Jeff Johns, Jim Lee, Grant Morrison, whoever's really behind all this is more Jim Lee than and Dan Didio than anyone else. But the people that are behind this aren't stupid. They're not stupid people. They want to tell stories and they want to sell comics. Do you think they really would alienate the long term comic book fans, such as I and yourself, to get that elusive new comic book fan? I don't always agree with Dan Didio's tactics, but I do find as though he's a smart businessman. And from what we've seen so far, much of the DC universe is still going to stay intact. There's been several interviews where people have said that we are not going to be touching the DC universe too much. Scott Snyder did a long, lengthy interview, and you can find that on newsarama.com, where he says that the Batman universe is for the most part, staying untouched. There will be tweaks here and there. Biggest thing is probably Oracle becoming Batgirl again, but for the most part, it's staying untouched. Dick Grayson was Batman, who was Nightwing, who was Robin, is just going to become Nightwing again. Tim Drake was Robin, who is now Red Robin. Batman's enemies stay intact. His history up to this point stays intact. Same could be said about Green Lantern. His history, for the most part, stays intact. There will be changes, mind you. There's no doubt about that. But with something like this, a facelift, a new look, a modernization, there are going to be changes. So please, think about this. Just think for a second. Why would DC want to tell stories and sell comics and then go all the way to alienate their best customers? The long-term comic book fans. They're not. So while there is changes, they are going to stay stuff relatively intact. And that's something that you should look forward to, is a DC universe that is intact, but slightly changed. Will it make things a little confusing at first? Maybe. But again, that's the nature of the beast. DC is a lot better with its continuity than Marvel is. There is no denying that. So, as confusing as it could be at first, at least it will be better than Marvel. But what I'm saying is this, is that please do not worry at all about your favorite superheroes getting rebooted or revamped or anything like that. There will be changes, there will be updates, but for the most part, the continuity will stay intact. A lot of the history that we love about these characters will stay intact. Dan Didio and Jim Lee are not stupid. They are smart businessmen who are trying to do a smart business move. In addition to that, like I said, there will be changes. No denying that. As you can see, a lot of characters are changing, such as Barbara Gordon becoming Oracle. Characters from the Wildstorm universe is getting integrated into DC Comics. Constantine, Swamp Thing, and a few others, and I don't remember the top of my head. Some characters are getting complete design changes with their costumes, and some of the teams are getting slightly changed too. But again, this comes down to the fact that change needs to happen. Sometimes change can be positive. I think the biggest thing that is really a shock to people is really Oracle becoming Batgirl again. I stated my opinions and my feelings that if this is to be done right, I have no problem with Oracle becoming Batgirl again. I would like to see Oracle's history as Oracle stay intact. See, there's no reason why Batgirl can't be Batgirl again. Why Barbara Gordon can't be in the suit once more. I know they want to keep a superhero out there for people that have disabilities. Oracle was a fantastic role model for that group of individuals. But in the sense of comic books, how fascinating would it be to tell stories about Barbara Gordon being Batgirl, becoming paralyzed, being Oracle, and then becoming Batgirl again? It's a really great way to evolve the character, to try out new stories. And for all you know, we don't know how she's become Batgirl again. Maybe she gets cured. Maybe there's some kind of surgery that is found that cures her. Maybe the cybernetic suit that she's wearing that we see at the Batman Return comic is really helping her along. Maybe she's still paralyzed and she needs this cybernetic suit to move. Kind of reminiscent to the Birds of Prey television show. Maybe they did retcon Killing Joke out, but I doubt it. What I think they're going to do is they're going to find a way to cure Batgirl. And if you're worried about her being old and being called Batgirl, it's just a name. It's just a name. In closing, what I want to get across to you guys is this. Is that if you're truly loyal DC fans, if you're truly faithful to DC Comics, then you will see this through. You will give it a chance. Just because some of your characters didn't show up in these 52 #1 issues doesn't mean they won't be showing up in the DC universe. Maybe some more #1s will be coming out after the successful relaunch, or if this relaunch is successful. If your characters are being changed, don't worry. It has to happen every once in a while. It's something that we have to all deal with. You should give everything a chance to fail or succeed, to impress or disappoint. That's my motto. So please, if you truly love DC, if you truly love Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, all the way down to Ambush Bug, give this a chance. See if you really, really like this stuff, or if you don't. But in the end, if you give it a chance, then you have nothing to complain about. You will know that you have given this a chance and that you either like it or you don't. There will never be that question hanging over your head that you didn't give it that one chance. So with that said, this is Andrew saying peace out for now.